Today, we're diving deep into the wild world of diamonds. But forget everything you think you know, because this isn't about the usual 4 Cs. We're talking about a massive shift in what people want, and it's creating a totally new game with new winners and losers all over the world. Let's get right into it.
So let's just start with the biggest question of all. What is actually happening in the diamond market right now? Is it sparkling and stable, or is it feeling a little uncertain? Well, the truth is, it's kind of both at the same time.
And this is the central puzzle we're trying to solve. You hear reports that business is stable, retail is solid, especially in places like the US. But then you talk to people in the industry and the whole vibe feels shaky. So how can both be true? It's a contradiction that points to a much bigger story unfolding beneath the surface.
And if you want proof of that shaky side, look no further. We're seeing industry giants like De Beers letting their exclusive buyers refuse 100% of the rough diamonds they're offered. That is a huge red flag that the market is oversupplied or just plain nervous. Then you see Petra Diamonds reporting an 8% price drop on their rough stones. Yeah, you can definitely feel the anxiety.
But see, this whole story isn't just about the market going up or down. No, the real action, the main event really, is what's happening inside the market. It's a battle between two very different kinds of diamonds. The classic, traditional rounds versus the super popular fancy shapes.
And here's where you can really see the split. The classic round diamond, the one everyone thinks of, is actually showing some real weakness, especially in those smaller sizes. But on the other hand, the fancy shapes, and specifically the long ones, are incredibly strong. This isn't just a small trend, it's like the market is splitting in two.
Okay, before we go any further, let's just quickly make sure we're on the same page. When we say fancy shapes, what do we mean? It's really simple. It's basically any diamond that isn't the standard round one. So think ovals, pears, Marquise cuts, those beautiful emerald cuts. They all have their own personality. And right now, their own skyrocketing demand.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The data is screaming it. This quote from the report is crystal clear. When you get into those bigger, more valuable diamonds, 2 carats and up, these long fancy shapes are just plain doing better than rounds. That is a direct signal from the consumer about what they want now.
All right, so we know fancies are the hot ticket, but which ones are the real superstars? Let's zoom in on the specific shapes that are driving this whole trend.
So these right here are the ones everyone wants. See the pattern? Ovals, marquises, long radiants, long cushions. It's all about that elegant, elongated look. These shapes aren't just in demand, people. In a lot of cases, there just aren't enough of them to go around.
I mean, just take the Marquise cut. It's got that sharp, unique look, and it is so desirable right now that it's actually become the most expensive of all the fancy shapes. When something hits the top of the price chart, you know the demand is absolutely on fire. This chart just illustrates the point perfectly. We're looking at cushion cuts. A long, or elongated, cushion is selling for a mind-boggling 20 to 25% more than a square one. It's the same cut, just different proportions, and that tiny change creates a massive difference in price. It really is all about that shape. And the US market, which is a huge driver of what the world wants, gives us another great example. Elongated ovals are so popular that they're selling for 5 to 10% more than pear shapes, which are also a super popular fancy cut. It's a market of tiny details, and right now, length is definitely king. So you might be thinking, okay, that's just an American thing, right? Well, not even close. This shift in what people want is happening all over the planet. Let's take a quick trip to see how this is playing out in the other big diamond centers.
We'll start back in the US, the world's biggest market for diamonds. It's the key trendsetter. And just to recap, retailers there are seeing steady business in larger diamonds, with the demand being overwhelmingly for, you guessed it, long fancy shapes.
Now let's hop across the pond to Belgium, to the heart of the diamond trade in Antwerp. The feeling there is one of cautious optimism for the big holiday season. And what's fueling that optimism? It's not the classic rounds, it's the solid, consistent demand for ovals, pears, and marquises.
Next up, Israel, another absolute powerhouse in the diamond world. The overall market is holding steady, but the real story is that there's a serious shortage of large, fancy shapes. When a major trading hub like that can't get its hands on enough product, you know demand is just blowing past supply.
And finally, let's swing over to Hong Kong. Now, even in a market that's been a little bit slower, there is one major bright spot, the bridal market.
And what are couples choosing for that ring? Elongated, fancy shapes. This proves the trend is powerful enough to succeed even in tougher economic times, especially when it comes to something as important as an engagement ring.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We've looked at the market's weird contradictions, the incredible rise of these fancy shapes, and how it's all spreading across the globe. So, let's boil it all down. What's the bottom line here?
First off, remember that the diamond market is a paradox. It's somehow both stable and shaky. Second, and this is the big one, we're in the middle of a huge shift in taste, away from classic rounds and toward these modern, long, fancy shapes. Third, this isn't just about looks. It's got a real financial impact, with these elongated shapes commanding some serious price premiums. And finally, this is not a niche trend. It is a truly global phenomenon, changing the game from New York all the way to Hong Kong.
And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. For decades, that round brilliant diamond was the symbol of forever. But now, as tastes are clearly changing and new shapes are taking over, you have to wonder, is the very idea of forever itself being reshaped?